Hey guys, Prowl1701 here, and today on my video series Let's Review Doctor Who, we're up to Series 7 of Modern Doctor Who, Matt Smith's final full season. Which, of course, Series 7 is very hard to talk about, because unlike Series 6, which I mentioned this in my Series 6 video, Series 6, of course, was split into a first half and a second half. But they still felt like two parts of a whole series. They felt like part of the same series. Series 7 is different. Series 7 is also split into a first half and a second half, Series 7A, Series 7B, but they feel like totally different seasons, because really the only thing they have in common is Matt Smith's Doctor. You have different companions, you have a different TARDIS interior, the Doctor has a different outfit. They have less in common than actual seasons that aren't part of the same season sometimes. Like season 5 and 6 are more similar. As a matter of fact, Series 6 is more similar to 7A than 7A is to 7B. Because so much changes. Series 7A, we have the last few adventures with Amy and Rory, who at this point had kind of outstayed their welcome. It was time for them to go. And the Doctor had already parted ways with them a couple times and kept coming back. And then we have Series 7B, which of course has the introduction of Clara, and she's kind of the mystery box for the rest of the season, the impossible girl. The Doctor has a different outfit, the TARDIS interior is completely different. It's really hard to talk about Series 7 as a whole, because the two halves are so drastically different. I mean, they're as different as Season 17 and Season 18 of Classic Doctor Who, almost. Not quite. Almost. Because Series 17 and Series 18 of Classic Doctor Who are so tonally different from each other. I mean, you still have Romana, you still have K9, you still have the Doctor, but there's such a crazy tonal whiplash you get going from 17 to 18. You kind of get that here. Not so much in tone. They're still tonally different, but just there's so much changing between these two halves of the season. I think the second half is the stronger. I do like Series 7B a lot. It's not perfect, but it does have, I think, a pretty good hit-to-miss ratio. Where Series 7A, I'm not as keen on. It feels more like an extension of Series 6. Not completely, because it doesn't feel like part of that seasonal arc. It is some more standalone episodes, but it has a similar, well, even feel is not quite right, but it still feels not quite like Series 7. It still feels like a leftover from the previous two seasons. I don't get into that as much. I do like Asylum of the Daleks. I do like A Town Called Mercy, although Asylum of the Daleks does have its problems. But I'm not really keen on Dinosaurs on the Spaceship, Power of Three, or the Angels episodes. They just don't do much for me. I did like The Doctor, The Widow, and The Wardrobe. I think it's a fun little fantasy Christmas special. It's very enjoyable. And in fact, it takes place on Androzani Major, I believe, which is also the name of one of my patrons. I actually like that as well, how it ties back to Caves of Androzani a little bit there. And then, and then we also have The Snowmen, which is fantastic. It's nice to have Richard E. Grant back into Doctor Who. Back into Doctor Who again. That's nice how they get him in there. Ian McKellen in is very nice. Another interesting introduction for Clara. And it's just a well-made episode. I like that one a lot. And then you have 7B, which is very enjoyable. I like the variety of episodes here. I love Bells of St. John, but I don't get into Rings of Akatan. But then I do like Cold War. I like Hyde a lot. Journey to the Center of the TARDIS I'm not as keen on, but it's very visually impressive, much like God Complex, which I talked about, I think, in the last story. I always have trouble with God Complex because I struggle to remember if it's part of Series 5 or 6, but I think it was part of Series 6. I talked about it in the last video. Silver Nemesis is okay. It's not great, but it's better than its reputation. And then, of course, not Silver Nemesis, the Nightmare in Silver. Yeah, although I guess that description does kind of apply to both. And then the Crimson Horror is an underrated fun filler. And then Name of the Doctor, which isn't quite as good, I think, as people remember. And then I'm not going to talk about the anniversary stuff. I'll save that for another video when I talk about Day of the Doctor and Time of the Doctor. We're just mostly focusing on Series 7 here, and then maybe the Christmas specials right around it. Matt Smith is great, and I really like Matt and Clara. See, I don't really like Clara as a companion, but I do like her with Matt. I think her and Matt Smith, I think Jenna Coleman and Matt Smith have good chemistry. They bounce off each other really well. And while I think Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman get along just fine, I don't get that same kind of energy. And I just think Clara's written better here, and she hasn't become insufferable yet like she does with Capaldi. Clara's biggest problem, she just stayed too long. She should have left at the end of Series 8 or during Last Christmas. Would have been a perfect exit for her. But I do like her with Matt a lot. I wish we had more than just half a season of those two together. I wish Matt Smith would have done one more season, because I think they could have been great together. Let's go ahead and rank the episodes. I have 15 on this list. At the bottom is Power of 3. Garbage. Just garbage. I don't get into the Power of 3. It has a couple fun moments in it, like the Doctor being bored in real time and trying to kill time. But other than that, it's just dreadful. Next on the list is Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. This one just bored me. You would think with a story called Dinosaurs on the Spaceship it'd be interesting, but I remember being bored and distracted in it. I may have only watched this one once, actually. I'm trying to remember. I think I've only seen this one once. Maybe twice? Maybe once. I didn't like it. It was very boring. I think just once. I need to give it a rewatch because I was very distracted at the time. I just went through a breakup when this episode aired, so I couldn't quite focus on it. But yeah, other than that, it's just uninteresting to me. And although I did like seeing David Bradley in it as Solomon the Trader. I did enjoy that. What do we got here? Oh, The Rings of Akatan. Another one I didn't really care for. The Doctor's speech at the end is great. And I do like how it's neat that they resolve it not by all of his memories of the past, but all of the infinite possibilities of the future. That's pretty neat. I like that well enough. But yeah, it's just not memorable. It's not one I ever want to go back to, despite having some good moments. Oh yeah, next is The Angels Take Manhattan. I mean, you lost me at the cold open with the Statue of Liberty as an angel. That's just stupid. That's so stupid. Oh my God, that's just so dumb. I love the Weeping Angels, but I hate that they keep giving the Weeping Angels these new abilities. It's just eye-rolling and annoying at some point. Because they're like, oh, and now they can do this. Ha ha ha. I was like, fucking seriously. I just didn't like this one. Again, it has moments. It does have some neat moments in it, and some nice moments between the Doctor and River. And it's got the biggest plot hole I've ever seen in Doctor Who in it, maybe, with, but I can never see you again. Dude, you have a freaking time machine. Well, I can't go back to 1912 or whenever it is. You can go back to any other time, and it's in New York. So take the TARDIS back to, New Jersey and walk to New York, or take a taxi or something to New York. Or go, back in time to, 1919, a few years later when they're there. How can you not meet them? They lived into their 80s. You could have traveled back to... It's so stupid. I mean, that is such a huge plot hole. You could fly the Dyson Spear from Star Trek The Next Generation through that plot hole. It's so dumb. It's so dumb, and that pulls it down for me. Next is Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. This one's a lot like the God Complex, where I don't really care for the story, but I love how well this episode is shot. Back when I did my review for Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, which I'm going to put right here, And I'm going to be very upset if people don't go back and watch it, because I loved that review. I actually did not do that review like most of my reviews where it's me talking to the camera. I actually did more like some of my other fellow YouTubers like DWFan91, where he edits video footage together and dubs over it. I actually did that with that video. I was very proud of that review. I had to fight to get that review up because they kept trying to flag it. I actually remember going to DWFan91 for advice on how to get it up. He was very helpful. Great YouTuber. And I was so proud to get that video out, and nobody watched it. And I remember being thoroughly annoyed. Maybe it's because, I mean, I think more people who watch my channel are probably classic fans. I talk about classic more. I obviously love classic more, despite loving a lot of modern Doctor Who too. But nobody watched it, and I remember being like, okay, I'm never doing that again. I'm like the Doctor, like Matt Smith in the 11th Hour. Fine, I'm never doing that again. But in working on that video, when I was taking the pieces and editing it all together, I was really watching. I mean, first off, I did rewatch the episode to do the review. So I did rewatch the episode for the review. So I noticed this while I was watching the episode. But especially when I was editing all the pieces together for that review, that it's cinematically gorgeous. And I like when episodes explore more of the interior of the TARDIS, in classic and in modern Who, when we see more of the TARDIS. And so it's nice because almost all of the story takes place in these different interior pieces of the TARDIS. And I liked that a lot. I really liked that a lot. And just some of the shots, some of the cinematography was highly... I think I talk about that in the review. It was just very impressive. Very, very impressive. I really like the direction that was done here, the camera work that was done here. I like the God Complex. Terrible script. Or at least a very not good script. But wonderful execution of the script. And I got to give it points for that. Boy, my handwriting is... What God's name did I write? Oh, my handwriting is something else. I should have been a doctor. Next on the list is Name of the Doctor. Name of the Doctor is this low because I love the opening with Clara interacting with all of the old doctors. That's one of the best openings in all of Doctor Who. I love that opening with her seeing the classic doctors. That's awesome. And then I love the ending with the reveal of an unknown doctor played by John Hurt, no less. That was a great ending. And it was a wonderful cliffhanger ending at the time when it aired in early 2013, around May 2013, and left us for about 6 months or so trying to figure out who this character was. Was he pre-Hartnell? Was he season 6B? Was he between 8 and 9? Not knowing what was up with him for a long time. And the fact it's John Hurt. We got John Hurt as the Doctor. That's legendary. And so I like those two things. The rest of the story, it's nice seeing Richard E. Grant back again. Him as the Great Intelligence and the Whisper Man is interesting. But I don't like the fact that they kept repurposing that cool opening in the scene when Richard E. Grant was traveling inside his timeline and then Clara was saving inside his timeline. The fact they kept reusing that footage, I wish they'd used some different footage. And there are a couple new shots, like seeing Clara in the library from Silence in the Library. And I'm sure that's a budget thing where they just couldn't afford to do that a lot. But it does pull me out a little bit when I'm seeing the scenes that I saw in the cool opening. I wish they had spent a little more money and redid a couple more classic scenes with that. It would have been better, and it would have left a better impression on me. Just overall, though, the middle of it's just mid to me, just mid. It's not necessarily bad. It's just not great. It's okay. It's just okay. I don't really get into it a lot. Next on the list is Nightmare in Silver. I enjoy Nightmare in Silver. I think it's underrated. I don't think it's as good as Series 6's The Doctor's Wife, but it's fine. I like the updated design. I like the Doctor's mental battle with Mr. Clever, and I think Matt Smith's pulling that off well. I think he's doing a really good performance there in both parts. I don't like the constant upgrade in progress, upgrade. That's annoying. They're almost like the Borg adapting, which is interesting. The child actors, I flip-flop. I don't think they're great, but I don't think they're quite as annoying as other people do. I think I'm a little kinder toward them fresh off a rewatch. And then after a while, I'm kind of like, weren't they annoying? I forget exactly. I don't think the story would be any worse off without them, though. And, of course, I do like having Warwick Davis in it. I think he's a great actor. So it's nice seeing him in Doctor Who. I like that as well. It's not really good, but it's fine. It's good. It's edging into good. It's a solid C tier, knocking on the door to B tier, maybe. I'd say C tier. Maybe on a rough day, I'd say D tier. High D tier, good C tier. I don't know. Right up in there. I have to really think about that. Next on the list is Hyde. I do enjoy Hyde. Hyde, I like that Hyde kind of changes genre mid-story, because you think it's going to be a horror movie, and then it turns out to be more sci-fi based. You find out the horror stuff's happening because of sci-fi reasons. And then you even get a little alien romance at the end. I like the guest cast. It's a fun story. I love when it goes from being a ghost story to being a sci-fi explanation. I love when Doctor Who does that. And yeah, I really like this one. It's a lot of fun for me. Although the line when he admits to being scared, which works great for the trailer for the episode, but feels weird in the episode itself. Next on the list is The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. Didn't I cover that one already? No, I just mentioned it earlier. I like this one. It's on Androzani Major, which is a nice one. It's a nice Christmas story. It has a very Christmassy feel to it, a story of hope. I love the ending. It's not an ending I would want to see in all of Doctor Who. But for this Christmas story, it works perfect. It's perfect for this spirit of optimism, spirit of hope. It's a perfect ending for that. And it plays to the Doctor's timey-wimey nature of Doctor Who really well. The actress playing the mother is great. I think the actress playing the kids, I think, are good in this one, as I recall, going off memory. But I always find this one very enjoyable. Not one to go back and rewatch all the time, but when if you're sitting around going, what's one I haven't watched in a while? This is a good one for that. Next on the list is, and we're getting up to the point to where a lot of these start moving around, like pretty much for here on up especially. This list is not in concrete. It's not a set list. These next, 5 or 6, wherever we are on the list, 7, they really fluctuate. It just depends on the day. The next one I have on the list is A Town Called Mercy. I enjoy A Town Called Mercy. We don't get westerns often in Doctor Who, so it's nice to kind of get a western. It's got action in it. It's got not necessarily scary bits, a couple maybe tense bits. It's got some great dialogue. We get to see the Doctor go a little darker here a couple times. And it's got some nice humorous moments in it too. Some may argue they feel out of place. I just think they're funny. It's an enjoyable story. I think the makeup on the cyborg is good. I like his story. I like the actor playing the other Doctor, the alien Doctor. I think he's good. I like his sacrifice at the end. I enjoy it. And I like how it's told as kind of a folklore legend. I like that. It's not essential Doctor Who. It's not top tier Doctor Who, but it is one of the bright spots of Series 7A, and it's enjoyable. Next on the list is Asylum of the Daleks, and A Town Called Mercy and Asylum of the Daleks are constantly battling for me with who does Series 7A the best. Asylum of the Daleks is very flawed. Anytime I talk about Asylum of the Daleks, I admit that. It's a flawed story. It's got problems. It's got plot points that happen for no reason other than the plot needs them to happen. Amy and Rory being split up, which is really weird. It just happens because the plot needs it to happen. The Daleks even having an asylum makes no sense. Well, what are they supposed to do with all the defective Daleks? What do you think the Daleks would do with defective Daleks? Have you seen what they do to the regular Daleks that fail? What do you think they'd do with defective Daleks? So them even having an asylum is really doesn't make sense, but you need it for the story. It's a great introduction to Clara with this original version of Clara, this Oswin character, which we knew Jenna Coleman was coming in as the new companion. We didn't know we were getting her this soon. They handled that really well. It's a fun episode, though. And some of the stuff, like when the guy realizes he died in the snow, and that gets kind of creepy in there, that's pretty neat. The reveal of what's up with Oswin is pretty neat. The erasing the Dalek's memory of the Doctor is weird, and I'm glad they didn't keep that. But it's fun. At the end of the day, it's fun. I like when Rory wakes one up and it's ag, as he's trying to hand it to it. That's funny to me. I love the rapport between the Doctor and Oswin, and even Rory and Oswin, when she calls him the nose, and like the Doctor the chin. I like how this is my favorite version of Clara, straight up. I wish regular Clara had been more like this Clara. I like how snarky she is. I like this kind of sass, not the kind of sass she has with Capaldi, where she's just a, well, I won't get into what I think she is. Snobby and uptight and thinks she's the boss. There's a word for that. I like her better here, where there's a humor to her sass. Yeah, this one's fun. Like, I flip-flop back and forth between A Town Called Mercy and Asylum of the Daleks with which one I think is better. Sometimes I rank A Town Called Mercy higher, sometimes this one better. I think A Town Called Mercy is a better story, as in, I feel like Asylum of the Daleks has more plot issues. But I find Asylum of the Daleks more enjoyable to watch, more fun to watch. So it comes down to which one do I think is a better written story, and which one do I find more enjoyable to watch overall. And that's a little trickier to rank them. So they flip-flop back and forth. Next on the list is the Snowmen. I like the Snowmen. Again, you have, Ian McKellen in that one. He's great. Richard E. Grant, who's great. Again, I like this version of Clara. I think her death's a little weird, where she just gets yanked out of the TARDIS and pulled down. It's like, how did the ice thing find the ladder? How did she climb it? How did the Doctor not notice? She only got pulled out. There's a lot of stuff that had to go wrong for her to be pulled out of the TARDIS and killed like that. And you wouldn't think that the Doctor would let himself get into the predicament he did at the end when Clara needed to save him, but there we are. But it's enjoyable, plus the little mini episode that precedes it is also really funny, I might add. But it's an enjoyable episode. I love the tone of it, I love the look of it, I like the design of the snowmen, I like the concept of the snowmen in it. Like, you said you'd give us lunch. No, I say you would be here for lunch, or whatever he says. I don't know. But I enjoy it. I like the Snowmen a lot. It's really fun. Richard E. Grant's always great when he's in Doctor Who. I really wish Richard E. Grant would come back to Doctor Who sometime. They need to have Richard E. Grant play the Doctor in an episode. Next on the list is Cold War. I like Cold War a lot. The guy playing the captain's great. I think he's in Game of Thrones and Harry Potter. I forget. But he's good. We have David Warner in Doctor Who proper, in the show proper, which I love that we got to do that before he passed, because I love me some David Warner. Man's in so many good movies. David Warner, I think, is one of those people to where if you said the name, oh, I really like David Warner, they'll be like, I don't know who that is. And you'll be like, oh, just look up a picture of him. They'll look up a picture and be like, I know that guy. And I'll be like, yeah. You've seen something with him in it, I guarantee it. It might be The Omen. It might be Tron. Or it might be an episode of Perry Mason. Or it might be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. But that man's been in a lot of stuff. He's really great in Waxworks as well. But, you know, I like that we got him in it proper. I like what they do with the Suntarans here. I like how they come up with a reason to not have to update not the Suntaran. Did I say the Suntaran? Psh, the Ice Warriors. I like that they come up with a way not to have to update the Ice Warriors design. The fact they're able to keep the classic design for the Ice Warriors. And they come up with a reason why it looks like that by making it armor. And just making it kind of sacrilegious for them to come out of their armor. To the point to where it's a huge dishonor for them to come out of their honor. So they don't really do it. I think that was very clever. Because I love the fact the Ice Warriors retain their classic look in here and in Empress of Mars. And I like their design when they're out of the armor. I thought the CGI on him at the end's a little, well, CGI-y. And I do wish they'd refine that a little bit, and maybe if that happens in the future. But I like turning an Ice Warrior story into something's hidden in the ventilation shafts. And that's another great thing about putting it on the submarine like this. It basically turns it into a base under siege story. And this little thing can squirm in and out of anywhere. You know, it's something that can get you like the Thing or something, where it can just and pull you into a corner like a velociraptor stalking someone. You know, I like that. And that works really well, and I didn't expect it to do that. And I like the ending. One, I actually see we get to see the Doctor use the red setting from Silence in the Library. He actually uses the red setting when he threatens to detonate it. I like that we see the TARDIS emergency system used again with the HVAC or whatever it's called. That's from classic Doctor Who. I forget what story, but I know that's from classic Doctor Who somewhere. That emergency system. That might be the Crotons? I forget exactly what it's from. But it's nice to see the callback to it. And I like the fact that the Doctor wins the day at the end by reasoning with him and appealing to his honor. I like that. I enjoyed that. I like Cold War a lot. Number 3 on the list is the Crimson Horror. Fun filler. I've talked about the Crimson Horror a lot, so I won't go into big detail on it, but it's fun. It's silly. It's fun. It's got a great guest cast with Diana Rigg and her daughter. They're playing fantastic parts. Diana Rigg just looks like she's having fun with it. Nice callbacks to Tegan in it. I like the flashback scene being done in that old sepia, however you say it, tone, that old school looking tone. I like that. Clara's good in this episode, which again she is this in 7B. It's fun. I just like that. It's fun. I mean, where else can you get the phrase, I'm the Doctor, you're nuts, and I'm gonna stop you? And to me that sums up the whole episode. It's just that kind of fun. Next on the list is I guess the top one. We've reached the top one. The Bells of St. John. I love The Bells of St. John. It's one of my favorite Matt Smith episodes. It's so much fun. It's enjoyable. It's a great introduction to this version of Clara. I like how it makes the Wi-Fi basically the enemy. I like when Doctor Who takes something normal and makes it dangerous like it does with the Wi-Fi here. It's a great callback to the Great Intelligence, bringing the Great Intelligence back. Again, Richard E. Grant being fantastic. And it's even got a nice little nod to Unit in there, kind of referencing the Web of Fear. The actress playing the woman that's working with him, she's really good. I love some of the incidental music in this story a lot. I have a lot of fun with this one. I love fun Doctor Who. Who doesn't love fun Doctor Who? I feel like this story doesn't get talked about enough. Like, I never really hear people talking about the Bells of St. John, and it's a shame, because again, I love the chemistry between Jenna Coleman and Matt Smith. I think they're great together. I wish we could have gotten more of them together, and they're just electric in this episode, and it's just shot so well. It's so much fun. So that's my thoughts on Series 7. Again, it just feels like 2 different seasons, really. It really does. They're so drastically different. But they're a mixed bag. I find Series 7B very underrated, while not perfect. Very underrated, very enjoyable. I think if you think of them as separate seasons, you will come to appreciate at least one of those halves better. Like, if you prefer 7A and don't like 7B, and you think of them separately, you'll probably enjoy 7A more. And vice versa. If you like 7B and don't like 7A, and you think of them as separate seasons, you'll enjoy 7B more. I want to know what you think. Comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. There's a link to that down there as well. Want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons. Androzani Major, shout out to the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. Colin Coney, Sam Venning, Unknown 289, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support and the support of all of my patrons. It's very much appreciated. Also, all the other fun stuff, links to the Patreon, the P.O. Box, that's what I meant to say. The P.O. Box is down there. Love getting fan mail. Makes my day. I should be closing on my house this week. If anyone wants to send anything for that. Yes, anyone wants to sneak, like a dining table or something into an envelope and send it on, feel free to do that. Like a 75-inch TV, and just slip it into an envelope. So, super excited about that. But the P.O. box is down there if anybody wants to send any, like, housewarming gifts or anything. Anything Doctor Who related I can hang on a wall. Super excited. And then, links to the Amazon wish list are down there. Links to the Amazon UK wish list are down there as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.